stay back. Try and see if you can encourage that girl to be willing to accept a 1-0 victory. And so then I said, and in the last 30 seconds, go out and see if you can tie it up, because then you can get, maybe you can get tied and it goes into overtime, who knows, you know? So it was better for her to go out and try and keep it even, convince that girl that you're willing to take a 1-0 loss. So she doesn't have to work or worry about it. And she was willing to do that. We went out and tried, of course, to tie it up, but she got hit again. It was 2-0. We quit. It's 2-0. We're willing to take a 2-0 loss, which is better for indicators than going out and getting beat 5-0.
Yeah, now those are the kind of things, there are many things like this that you can, that you as parents can analyze just as good, better than so-called coaches can do. And furthermore, since you concentrate on the one person that you're dealing with, you'll have a much better, no coach is able to go out there with 3 or 4 people out there and come up with ideas that it's going to, you just don't have the time to think it all out and to even know what's going on. I see some of the coaches that when we go over to Europe, they run from one strip to another and they talk to somebody like that and they go to the next strip like that, and I see them doing all this sort of stuff like this. The one thing you can't change in a competition is technical stuff. There's no such thing as going and I'll parry this way, you parry that way. That's baloney.
They could do that way, they would have been doing it.
You cannot change anybody in the bout. That has to be before that. The only thing you can affect at that spot is tactics. That's the only thing you can affect. And if you even mention that, hey, you're leaning over too much, you're asking for trouble. Don't mention it. So it's only tactics that you can change that will change the outcome. So, as I say, if you've got to 2 victories, if you get them right off the bat, well, then you know, well, there is a possibility that I could go and win the next game, which means this, that supposing you were working on the indicator thing, somebody's really tough and you're working, but you win, and you get up to 4 victories. Now, if you get to 4 victories, then, because 2, 3, 4, and 5 victories, in the long run, probability-wise, you can't tell whether that's going to be any different, 5 and 2. You can't tell. We've experienced that. You just don't know. 5 could be the very worst thing that you could have won, 5 victories. And 2 could have been the very best. But if you get to the point where you can win 5 victories, that puts you in a position to win 6 victories. And if you can win 6 victories, that is a definite change. A definite change. 6 victories in Europe, for instance, 6 victories will get you to the second day in the senior stage. You win 6 victories, you don't have to fence anymore. As soon as the pools are over, you're to the second day. Otherwise, if you only get 5, sometimes 5 can get you the second day, but it can't be more than 10% of the time, I would say. But because if you have to fence, if you win 5 victories in the senior stuff, and you have to go out and bout, you may have to bout 2 different people before you even get to the second day. That's a whole game, new game, that the person that got 6 doesn't have to play. They jump right over into the people that didn't have to even fence the first day. You can see what an advantage those people have. But in this country, the same thing. So if you're in a position to win 5 victories, you should really think about it seriously, because if you win the 5, then you're in a position to win the 6, which is really the difference. That's what it's really at. So those are basic tactics and strategies which everybody can appreciate and think about while you're there, and start to put together as a generalized approach to when you go to these competitions. And just be there and understand all these things, especially the rules. For instance, the rules of overtime bouts, which is something that we try our best to go into. Every time we try our very best. Why? Because we have strategies and tactics for overtime bouts. We've worked on them a long time. We know exactly how we want to work in the overtime bout. Exactly. 90% of the people that we meet have no idea what they just, I mean, it's thrown upon them and they're out there and they're just trying to get that touch. They haven't thought about what that means, how to go about it. At one point when we were trying to make the last Olympic team, not this one, but the one before the 204, Kelly was out there ahead of everybody for the longest time until the next to last bout, when some girl got a 3rd from the United States and took her spot. But during that point, and we were fencing all senior bouts, Kelly won 11 straight overtime bouts. 11 straight. And we tried every chance we could to get into the overtime bouts. In senior competitions, it's easier to push to the overtime bouts than it is in the juniors. The juniors won't let you do it. The juniors are too inexperienced, and they will tend to play it out. They don't want to go to the overtime. They will, but the seniors will. If you, are showing that you want to go to the overtime bout, they're not sure that you really want to go to the overtime bout, and so they'll hesitate until it gets to that point, and then when it gets close, they'll accept it too. But in the overtime bouts, you can work out a lot of strategies that you can work to your advantage. A lot. I'm not going to mention what ours are, but
one of the most important things is that you and or your child understands what their game is. What do they do? What are their strong points? What are their weaknesses? A lot of coaches out there have no idea what their strengths and what their weaknesses are. Until you know that, you can't develop an overtime game, and you can't even develop a strategy for bouts.
And you certainly must know the rules involved in this stuff. What overtime bout means, whether it's because time has run out or whether it's because of non-combativity, those are different rules. And the non-combativity overtime thing is totally different than the overtime time run out. And when you run into one, the other person, if it's a non-combativity thing, the other person probably is not going to know what the rules are. And as soon as the other person knows what the rules are, they're at a tremendous disadvantage. Last year in the collegiate national championships, which Kelly won, in the next to last bout, we were fencing this girl from Ukraine. Everybody in the NCAAs that gets to the finals are from Europe. Huh?
From
Latvia. Anyway, we got in this bout, and Kelly had already lost her in the 5 touches, and so I told Kelly, I said, do not fence this girl. She can't get down there because she goes to the back of the strip, she's too hard. Just keep playing around and see if she'll go for the non-combativity rule. So she gets out there, and they play around for a long time, and Kelly is not going after her. By no means Kelly pretending like she's going after her, and pretending, but then there was a couple of doubles. It got up like to 2-2, 3-3 or something like that. And so Kelly kept backing off like this, waiting for her to, go, and then she would back off too, not knowing even what on. So the guy says non-combativity. So okay, now that's non-combativity. Go into, and Kelly got the right of way. She got the thing. So the thing is, at this point, all the touches count in the next minute, and whoever, if it's tied at the end of that time, then whoever had got the flip was the one who won. If somebody wins, somebody gets 2 or 3 points, and then they win. That's the way it works. But I knew this other person, the Ohio State person, did not know that. They did not know. They were totally confused as to what was going on in the first place. So we're out there. Kelly is done. Kelly's keeping away. Of course, this girl knew that Kelly had the right of way, so she knew she had to get some touches. Well, okay, so she runs down there with about, 10 seconds to go or something like that. She runs down there and hits Kelly. So Kelly's down 1-0 now. It's like 10 seconds. So it got down to 7. Yeah, but she didn't get down until the 7 seconds. So Kelly comes and tries very hard to get back, and bingo, she gets down 2-0. Well, at this point, the other team thought, they didn't know what was going on, but anyway, she's got 2 touches, and so I figured that's going to be it. So Kelly, so that doesn't bother us. That doesn't bother us because Kelly has got a very good panic move. We break down tempos into 3 tempos. You have the regular tempo when you're out there fencing. Then you have the second tempo, the tension tempo, when you're behind and you're trying your hardest to get. And then there's the panic tempo. That's when, forget it, everything else, you just go. Well, Kelly's got extremely good panic tempo. We've known that from the past. If it's down to a panic time when there's nothing else to do but panic, she's very good. She runs down there with her big left arm like the and the other person, maybe it's only 2 seconds to go, the other person goes, and then she goes. So Kelly runs down there, and she goes into the girl like that and misses, and the girl hits her, and it makes it 2-0. So Kelly says, oh, fuck. And so in NCAA play, that's a black card. Yeah, that's a black card. So she goes down and says that, and everybody says, all the stands are on.